Now in this lecture, we are going to cover few more topics, and these topics are length contraction, length contraction, time dilation, time dilation, addition of velocity, addition of velocity, and variation of mass with velocity, variation of mass with velocity. So let us start with the first topic, which is length contraction. Length contraction. So here again we will take two frame of references, S and S dash. So this is our one frame of reference, S, and then we have another frame of reference, S dash. S dash is moving with constant velocity v with respect to S, and the coordinates are x, x dash, and x, y, z, and here it is x dash, y dash, and z dash. Now let us suppose that in S dash frame a rod is fixed, a rod is stationary in S dash frame with the length L0, and the two ends of the rod is x2 dash and x1 dash. So this rod is fixed, or this rod is at a stationary position in S dash frame, and the length is L0. Now we have to find out what is the length of the length as seen by the observer in the frame S. So for this we will write the transformation equations. So x2 dash is equal to x2 minus vt upon under root 1 minus v square by c square, and similarly x1 dash is equal to x1 minus vt upon under root 1 minus v square by c square. So if we take the difference of the two, then x2 dash minus x1 dash, this will be x2 minus x1, and then divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square. So this length L0 is equal to L upon under root 1 minus v square by c square. So L is equal to L0 under root 1 minus v square by c square. So here L0 is the length in frame S dash, in frame S dash, and L is the apparent length in frame S, in frame S. So what we see here, that the factor under root 1 minus v square by c square is always less than 1. Therefore, L is always less than L0. Means the apparent length in frame S is shortened with the actual length or with the real length. So this is known as length contraction. The apparent length in frame S is less than the length of the length as measured in frame S dash. So this phenomena is length contraction. Length contraction. So the actual length will remain as such, but it is the apparent length, means the length the observer which is sitting in the frame S, he will observe that the length is contracted, but actual length will remain as such. So this phenomena is known as length contraction. Now go to next page and put the heading time dilation. Put the heading time dilation. Time dilation. So again we will choose two similar frame of references, S and S dash, two frame of references S and S dash, and let us say in S dash frame, a clock is at rest, is at rest, and there is time interval between the two ticks at t1 dash and t2 dash. There are two ticks at t1 dash and t2 dash, and then the time interval is t2 dash minus t1 dash. So what will be the apparent time interval to a person which is situated in the frame S? So this we have to work out. So now we will write this similar equations, that t2 is equal to t1 sorry t2 dash, t2 is equal to t2 dash plus it is Vx dash by c square upon under root 1 minus v square by c square, and similarly t1 is equal to t1 dash plus Vx dash by c square upon under root 1 minus v square by c square. The position is of the clock is the same, therefore we will use x dash in both the equation, and therefore t2 minus t1 is equal to t2 dash minus t1 dash divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square, or here t naught is equal to t naught dash divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square. So again here we see that the factor under root 1 minus v square by c square is less than 1. Therefore t naught is greater than t naught dash. T naught is greater than t naught dash. So a time interval which is seen in the S dash frame, that will be appear as dilated to the observer which is situated in the S frame, and this phenomena is termed as time dilation. So on this basis there is a twin paradox. So suppose there are twins naming, let us say, Ram and Shyam, and Ram is on the earth and Shyam goes into a spaceship, and then he comes back. So since Ram is on the earth, so he will see the Shyam as dilated time. The age of Shyam will appear less to Ram. So this is twin paradox, that one in the one person which is on the earth, he will be more aged than the other person which have gone into space with the spaceship, and this is termed as twin paradox. But this is only the apparent phenomena, but the actual age will remain as such because the same time has passed. So it is only the apparent phenomena. This time dilation and length contraction, these are the apparent phenomena, and the actual things will remain as such. Now come to the next topic, which is the addition of velocity. So put the heading addition of velocity. So here again we will take two similar frame, that is S and S dash frame, and let us say that an object is moving, with velocity u dash in S dash frame. Now this u dash velocity is different from the v velocity. So let us again recall our picture of the frame of references. So this is our picture. This is S frame and this is S dash frame. This S dash frame is moving with a constant velocity v, and here I am saying that an object is moving with velocity u dash in S dash frame. So this is another object. This is another object which is moving with the velocity u dash. So this u dash is different from v. So our objective is to find out that what will be the apparent velocity of the same object to the observer of S frame. So that is u. So we have to find out what is the relation between u and u dash. That is, we have to find out relation between u and u dash. So for this, let us write x dash is equal to x minus vt upon under root 1 minus v square by c square, and then we have t dash is equal to t minus xv by c square upon under root 1 minus v square by c square. Let me check these equations. Yes, these are right. So now dx dash is equal to dx minus v dt divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square, and similarly dt dash is equal to dt minus dx into v by c square divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square. So here we can write that u dash is equal to dx dash by dt and u is equal to dx by dt. So with this relation, we can write here u dash, which is dx dash upon dt dash. So now let us divide these two expressions. So we will get dx minus v dt divided by dt minus dx v by c square. Again divide it by dt in numerator and also in denominator. So it will be dx by dt minus v divided by 1 minus dx by dt into v by c square. So this is equal to u minus v divided by 1 minus u v by c square, and which is u dash. So this is our equation. This is the required equation, that u dash is equal to u minus v 1 minus uv by c square. And now we can write the inverse relation. We can write inverse relation. So inverse relation is u is equal to u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square. So these are two relations. That is, we have one relation, u dash is equal to u minus v 1 minus uv by c square, and the other relation is u is equal to u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square. So using these relations, we can show that the speed of light will remain constant. So suppose u dash is equal to c. If u dash is equal to c, then what will be the value of u using this equation? If we use this equation, then what will be the value of u? This will be u dash is c. So it will be c plus v divided by 1 plus cv by c square. So this is equal to c plus v divided by 1 plus v by c, and then this is equal to c plus v divided by c plus v, and in numerator it is c. So again it will be c. So what we see that if the object is moving with the speed of light, or if our object is a light signal, then the velocity in both the frame will remain c. That is, u dash is c and u is also c. So this is the second postulate of theory of relativity, that the speed of light will remain as such and it will not change due to the relative motion. So this is second postulate of theory of relativity. Now let us move to the next page, and then we have to find out the relation between mass and velocity, or the relativistic mass relation between mass and velocity. Mass and velocity. So for this again we will use the similar two frame of references. One is S and another is S dash. So this is S frame, this is S dash frame, and it is moving with velocity v. Now let us assume that a collision incident is going on in the S dash frame between two identical particles A and B. So these are two identical particles, means their mass will be same and they are moving with the same velocity in opposite direction. So this is the velocity u dash and this is moving with minus u dash. So all these are happening in the S dash frame. In S dash frame there is a collision event between identical particles. So if we apply the law of conservation of linear momentum, then we find that using the law of conservation of linear momentum, we find that final momentum will also be zero, because the initial momentum is zero. Mass is same for A and B, so it is mu dash minus mu dash, so that will be zero. So initial linear momentum is zero in the S dash frame. So finally what will happen, that after collision these two particles will fuse together. Two particles will fuse together and they come to rest. This combined mass comes to rest. This is necessary because there is conservation of linear momentum. Initially the linear momentum is zero, therefore finally it should be zero, and for the zero means they will come to rest and come to rest in the S dash frame. So in S dash frame, now we will see what will happen to this event in S frame. Means we have to observe this event in S frame. So in S frame there are again two particles. So let us say one has the mass m1 u1 and then m2 u2. So it is m1 u1 plus m2 u2 initially, and then afterward they will combine, so it will be m1 plus m2 and they will come to rest in S dash frame. If any body is at rest in S dash frame, it means that it is moving with velocity v with respect to S. So this into v. So this is the equation for the conservation of linear momentum in S frame. Now let us write what is the value of u1 following the previous equation. What we have derived in the earlier page, so that we have to write what is the value of u1. So u1 is equal to, it will be u dash, u1 is equal to u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square. This is the value of u1, and similarly the value of u2. For the u2, u dash is minus u dash. So it is minus u dash plus v divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square. So now let us substitute into this equation. So this equation will be m1 u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square, m1 u1 plus m2, and then u2, which is minus u dash plus v divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square, and then this is equal to m1 plus m2 into v. Now we will collect all the terms of m1 on the left hand side and m2 on the right hand side. So it will be m1 and then u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square minus v is equal to m2, and then it is v minus u dash plus v divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square. So this is the value. Now we have to solve this. So let us go to the next page. So we had equation. Let me write the equation again. So it will be m1 then u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square minus v, and this is equal to m2 into v minus u dash plus v divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square. So this is our equation, and now we have to solve this equation. We will do some mathematical manipulation here. So m1, and then it is u dash plus v minus, take the LCM on both sides. So u dash plus v minus v minus v minus u dash v square by c square, and this whole divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square is equal to m2, and then within bracket it is v minus u dash v square by c square minus plus u dash minus v, and then this divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square. So here this v is cancelled with this v, and this v is cancelled with this v. So we are left with m1 then u dash minus u dash v square by c square, and then divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square, and this is equal to m2 into u dash minus u dash v square by c square, and this divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square. So these two factors in numerator are same, so we can cancel these two factors. These are same factors, so we have m1 by m2 is equal to 1 plus u dash v by c square divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square. So this is our one result, that m1 by m2 is equal to 1 plus u dash v by c square divided by 1 minus u dash by v by c square. Now we will do some more calculation and let us find out 1 minus u1 square by c square. So this will be 1 minus 1 by c square and then value of u1 square. u1 square means it is u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v by c square and then whole square. So this we have to find out. So again 1 minus u1 square by c square is equal to 1 minus, it is 1 by c square into u dash square plus v square plus 2u dash v, and in denominator it is 1 plus u dash square v square upon c to the power 4 plus 2u dash v upon c square. So this is equal to, let us take LCM. So it will be 1 plus u dash square v square upon c to the power 4 plus 2u dash v upon c square, all these terms multiplied by 1 minus u dash square by c square plus v square by c square, sorry, it will be minus sign, and then minus 2u dash v by c square, and all this divided by this whole factor. So this whole factor means it is 1 plus u dash v upon c square whole square. So this is equal to 1 minus v square by c square. So take this in one bracket, 1 minus v square by c square. Then this 2u dash v by c square is cancelled with this factor, similar factor. So here we can write 1 minus v square by c square into one bracket, and then this 2u dash v by c square is cancelled with this factor, and we are left with plus u dash square v square upon c to the power 4 minus u dash square upon c square, and this whole divided by 1 plus u dash v upon c square whole square. Now we can take here common some factor. So 1 minus v square by c square, and then we can take common here u dash square by c square. So plus u dash square by c square. Then within bracket we have v square by c square minus 1, and this whole divided by 1 plus u dash v divided by c square whole square. Now again let us take 1 minus v square by c square as common, this as common. Then within bracket we have 1 minus, because it is inverse, so if we write it as 1 minus v square by c square, then there will be a negative sign. So it is 1 minus u dash square by c square, and then divided by 1 minus 1 plus u dash v upon c square whole square. So what we find from here, that 1 plus u dash v by c square whole square is equal to 1 minus v square by c square, and then 1 minus u dash square by c square, and this whole divided by 1 minus u1 square by c square. This 1 minus u1 square by c square. So this is the relation which we have derived using the first particle, that is a particle, which has the velocity u1. Now if we derive the similar equation starting with u2, then we will have the equation 1 minus u dash v upon c square whole square is equal to 1 minus v square by c square, and then 1 minus u dash square by c square, and divided by 1 minus u dash square by u2. It is u1, so it is u2 square by c square, u2 square by c square. So this is so we have two relations. And now go to the our previous relation of m1 by m2. So let us go to our previous relation of m1 by m2. So earlier we had equation of m1 by m2 as m1 by m2 was 1 plus u dash v by c square divided by 1 minus u dash v by c square. So this is our relation, and now we have the relation, now we have this relation 1 plus u dash v by c square, and then this 1 minus u dash v square v by c square. So we can substitute these values here. So if we substitute these values, then we will have the equation as this will be the ratio of m1 by m2 will be under root. Many things will get cancelled and we will be left with 1 minus u2 square by c square, and then under root it will be 1 minus u1 square by c square. So this is the relation, that m1 by m2 is equal to under root 1 minus u2 square by c square divided by under root 1 minus u1 square by c2 square, c square. So now again go to the previous page, and here we can see that we have derived this equation. I have derived this equation. This equation I have derived, and then I have written this equation on the similar basis. So we can write this equation as, because when we choose u2, then our u dash will be minus u dash. So everywhere we have to put u dash as minus u dash. So here it is u dash, so it will be minus u dash. Then v square will remain v square. Then it is u dash square, so we will put minus u dash square. So again it will be, this sign will be negative because it is a square, and here u1 will become u2. So on the same pattern we have written the equation for the u2. So now go to the next page. So this is our equation for m1 by m2. Now let us suppose that the second particle, the p particle, is at rest, and therefore its mass will be m naught. Its mass is m naught, and this minus u dash will be 0. U dash or this u2 will be 0. This u2 will be 0. This u2 will be 0. So what will happen, that this m1 by m naught is equal to, this u2 is 0, so the factor 1 divided by under root 1 minus u1 square by c square, or we can write m1 is equal to m naught upon under root 1 minus u1 square by c square. Because A and B are similar identical particles, so if the rest mass of B particle is m naught, then rest mass of A particle will also be m naught. So this equation can be written in more general form, that m is equal to m naught upon under root 1 minus u square by c square. M is equal to m naught upon under root 1 minus u square by c square, where u is the velocity of the object. So if m is equal to, if u is equal to 0, if u is equal to 0, then what will happen? If u is 0 here, then m is equal to m naught, means the mass is the rest mass. And if u is very small than c, if u is very small than c, then this factor will be a small factor, and we can neglect that factor in comparison to 1. So in such case, again m is equal to m naught. So if u is very less than c, then again m is equal to m naught. But if u is comparable to c, if u is comparable to c, then we cannot not neglect u square by c square in comparison to 1, and this factor will be less than 1. Therefore m will be more than m naught. M will be more than m naught, means the mass is increasing with the increase in velocity. And if u is equal to c, then what will happen? If u is c, then it is 1 minus 1 0, means m will become infinite. So this is not possible. Therefore velocity should be always less than the velocity of the light. And if u is more than c, then what will happen? If u is more than c, then this will become imaginary. So m will become, if u is greater than c, then m will be imaginary. So this is also not possible in real world. So u should be less than c, and then mass will be more than m naught. If u is comparable to c, if u is comparable to c but less than c, then m will be greater than m naught. So mass is always increasing with the increase in velocity. So in this way we have completed all the noted topics, and in the next lecture we will proceed further. So let us stop here.